Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Tin Barn. I'm Pragmatic Lee, and today we got a fun little project, I hope. A couple days ago, I posted a picture on the YouTube machinist group on Facebook, and I also posted a picture of it, of what we're going to make today. I posted a picture on my Facebook page, and tagged a few of my friends, three of my friends that are, one's a nephew, Wesley, and then Travis and Todd are archery friends that I've met. These three guys are machinists. They're CNC machinists. And I just jokingly posted this picture of the captive nut. And jokingly asked them if they could do that with their fancy CNC machines. And I was amazed at the response I got on both of those posts, not only on the one on my Facebook page, but on the one that I posted to the YouTube machinist group. So we're gonna make this today and see if we can't maybe reveal the secret of the captive nut. Stick with me. I've got a piece of material mounted in the 7/8 collet in the hex collet holder, and of course it's in the mill vise, and got a parallel under there now just so it doesn't, so I'm certain it doesn't rock in the edge of the, or in between the ways on the vise. I've also lined the collet holder up with the edge of this, so each time we rotate it, we'll be in the same position. So what I'm going to do is touch off now. I've got a 7/16 end mill in there, and we need to go 66 thousandths down on each of the 6 sides. So there's the 0. All right, and that's got the depth set on the X and Z axis. Okay, there's our hex on our stock. Get a little cleanup, of course. So we'll carry this over to the lathe now, put the collet in the collet chuck over there, drill this out, and tap it for a 1/2-13. Got the collet chuck on the lathe now. Got our piece of material and collet mounted in this chuck, good and tight. I'm going to drill this. This piece is plenty long for our puzzle, but I'm going to drill this about a 1/2 inch deep to give plenty of room to tap. I'm using a 7/16 tap drill to drill the 1/2-13, or to tap the 1/2-13. Now we'll put the tap in. I'm going to see if it'll pull itself in a little bit. All the 1/2-13 taps that I've got are bottom taps, so I don't expect it to pull very far in. Then I'll manually tap. All right, I believe I'm going to have to get set up with a tap wrench. Okay, I have the tap in there, got the tap wrench on, and I've got the tap guide in the chuck just to keep it straight. And this is going to take a little bit. As I say, that's a bottoming tap. So I'm just going to continue on this process. I'll bring you back when I got it tapped. Okay, I've got the hole tapped now, all the way to the bottom. It is a blind hole. After we get it parted off, if it doesn't freely spin over on a half 13 bolt, I'll take it over to the vise, hold it in that, and finish tapping through there. But now we want to part this off. And I'm going to get the part started parting, and then I'm going to round these edges off just a little bit. Again, I want it to resemble a store-bought nut, but I want it to be obvious that it is shop made. All right, so before that breaks, cuts through, just going to chamfer those edges just barely. All right, I'm going to put the just a small drill bit in there in the tailstock, just to keep this from dropping, falling. So there's our nut that is kind of warm right now. I'll test this out in a minute, be sure the bolt goes all the way through. If not, again, I'll carry it over there on the, hold it in the vise and finish tapping all the way through. Now what we want to do is face this end off to get rid of the rest of that drilled hole there and get us a good clean end that we can put a center in. All right, I'm going to put just a shallow center in that now for purposes of holding it. But when we finish our finished product, on the prototype that I made, I can't seem to put my hands on it right now, but it still had the on the prototype I made, still had the center in the end of it down here. On this one, we're going to face that center out of there for our finished product, just so that the ends are good and clean. All right, I'm going to get it set up now to start working on the body of it, and I'll bring you right back. All right, now we want to mark this off again. Might be easier with the tailstock out of the way right now. All right, we set our first, where our threaded sections start to begin with. 0.3 for the center, 3/4 of an inch for the end, and then 0.2 for the transition, so 1.25. 1.05 is where the transition will actually start. 1.05. So that's where the transition will start. In the prototype that I built, I got a little bit of a chatter when I was making this radius inside there. So I'm going to try something different for this. I've got a brand new tool here, never used it before. And I'm going to try the transition with that. And again, I've got it laid out. This is where we'll face off to get rid of that center that was drilled in there. This will be the end piece. This is where the transition will start, thread in, end transition. So I'm going to move in here and put just a tiny little witness mark at where these transition starts and where the thread starts. And of course I could have stepped all this off with a DRO, but these measurements aren't that critical. They're just the length that I decided, 2.5 inches of thread in there and so forth. So we're going to start bringing this down now. We want to bring this interior diameter down to 0.494. And that's what we'll thread for the 1/2-13. I'm going to zero out the DRO, and I'm going to try plunging 60 at the time. All right, we'll see how this tool does. Not breaking the chip very well. I'm going to keep working this down, keep working that transition to make it the shape of this tool, and bring it back when we get maybe down to our last cut. All right, I believe we're ready for our last cut. It'll be about 16 thousandths, and complete our transition as well. I kind of like that little transition right there. You do one more final check on that. $493. We were shooting for $494, so I can live with that. Now we want some thread relief. Another thing that I didn't do, or I didn't do enough of on the prototype, this thread relief right in here, I didn't quite get it deep enough. I went 80 thousandths, and I should have gone ahead and gone about 100 thousandths in there. So let's see if this tool is going to reach in there. Nope, it's going to bump this. So I'm going to get a different tool set up and cut about 100 thousandths relief at each end down here for the threads. I've moved the camera around now. I've got it sitting on the tailstock, so maybe you can get a better view of the actual threading. But I've got the piece, I've got relief cut at each end here of where we're going to cut the threads. I've got the compound set to 30 degrees. Got my cross slide at 0. I'm going to take about, I don't know, 4 or 5 thousandths at a time here. I've made a scratch pass there and determined that I am at 13 threads per inch. Double check that one more time. Yes, that's at 13 threads per inch. All right, I'll bring you back when we get a little closer to having the proper depth. Okay, according to calculations, this should be the last pass here. We'll make this pass a spring pass, and then we'll check it with the thread gauge. All right, this is just going to be a spring pass. I'm not going to advance the compound. I think I'm going to go about 2 more thousandths down. I don't have any thread wires. Wouldn't know how to use them if I did have them. So I'm hoping I've got to do my best to get this thread right, because I don't have but one chance here. And again, I'm going to make one more spring pass without advancing the compound. All right, I've got a little brass brush around here. Let me find that right quick and come back and clean these out a little bit. As soon as this project's over with, I'm going to definitely have to clean the workbench off. I can't find anything up there now. So just take this brass brush and clean them threads out a little bit. Any swarf in there. All right, so other than getting the nut on here, the only thing left to do now is face off this end down here to get rid of the center. So I'm going to get this backed into the collet. Well, let me get the threading tool out of the way. Okay, like I say, the only thing that's left to do now is face off this end here to get rid of the center that I drilled in there, and to get the nut installed. This is our shop-made nut. So that'll be the last thing we do. I've got the threading gears in the lathe now. I'm going to take them out and put the change gears in. I'm sorry, I've got the thread cutting gears in there now. I'm going to take them out and put the standard turning gears in there, and we'll come right back and face this off. Okay, I've got the turning gears back in there. Got this set up there, so all we need to do is face off this end down here. Or we're actually going to part it off. There's right much on there, so we'll part it off and then face it. And then the only thing to be left would be to get that nut on there. Oh crap, I just knocked the nut off the top up here. It hit the chuck and fell down in the chip pan. All right, I'll find it after we get this parted off. All right, I'll put the facing tool on there and get a nice clean face on there. Then we'll hunt the nut down and get it on. All right, let me see if I can find that nut. It's up I can see it down underneath the chuck here, so I think what I'm going to have to do is get the piece out, then take the chuck off here so I can reach down in there. And I don't have enough to get my fingers on it, so I'll take the collet on out. I think we're done over here. Wait a minute. The nut's on there. Now y'all saw me slide that piece up there. Let me get these gloves off. Y'all saw me slide that up in there to part off this end. I laid the nut right up here on there and knocked it off while we were parting. We better go over there to the workbench and talk about this for a little minute. Well, I didn't realize it, but I guess I've got a magical chuck over there. Y'all saw me put this piece in the chuck to part off that end and face it, and lay the nut up there on the lathe, on the headstock. Nut fell off, fell down in the swarf while I was parting that off, and evidently it's a magical chuck. Believe in Christmas magic? There it is. The nut is captivated again. So there we've got the captive nut. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you have a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you on the next video. Oh wait, you really think I'm not going to show you the rest of this? Yeah, I'll show you how the nut got on there. I might be able to find a little bit of video clips that got edited out. Again, have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we'll see you next year on the next video.